Well, it's big, it's loud, it's going to make a lot of headlines, but we've seen this with cartel leadership or high ranking people before. The follow up's going to be key, and there's a couple of things that are a little bit different here. One is this pretty much happened in a tourist area, and we're seeing reprisals from the cartels in a tourist area. In Mexico, there's kind of been this unspoken thing of they're going to do business, and they can do business with the tourists, but they have to keep the peace and not do violence around the touristy areas. That's mostly held up over the years. We're going to have to see if that's going to change from this. This also is clearly an escalation from the Scheinbaum administration down in Mexico. There it is very clear now, and Rubio and the State Department has basically come out and confirmed that there was a lot of U.S. coordination with this particular strike, especially on the intel side. We'll see if there's any material help in this as well. This looks like the start of something more, and it sure looks like the way the leaderships are all talking that they're going to do more. Now, we've seen these kind of strikes before, these decapitation strikes where they either arrest or kill a high-ranking member. There's violence, and then the circadian rhythm goes back to normal. So we'll have to see if that's the case here. But on the face of it, it's loud. Is it going to continue? The administrations on both sides of the border say they want it to be an escalation. The cartel's acting like it's an escalation. We'll have to wait and see how much it escalates.
The Trump administration has been pushing Mexico to take stronger action against the cartels. So Andrew broke down whether these operations change the dynamic between Washington and Mexico City.
It could. And like we were just discussing, if the State Department and the Department of Defense and law enforcement on the U.S. side is going to help with these sorts of things, that would be a good thing. I know there's a lot of the discussion about designating cartels as terrorist organizations and we'll just go in there with the military. Mexico, even with the corruption and the crime problems, they're still a sovereign nation. You can't just go down there with the military and do whatever you want. This, if this is going to be the model, is the better path where we augment them, we give them the intelligence, we give them resources, and we help them deal with it. Now, are they capable of doing that? Is there going to be further corruption to deal with it? Can the cartels, which are very well funded and very well equipped, fight the Mexican federales and the other law enforcement on equal footing, especially the Mexican military? So those are all the questions that need to be due. We can do more to help them. Do we have an ability to do it consistently beyond just the big splashy TV news event that we just had? That's the question.
Andrew also unpacked the concerns about possible cartel retaliation and whether any escalation could impact U.S. interests or border communities.
Always. Now, right now, their anger is going to be directed mostly at Mexico, and we're seeing where they're, burning buses in the streets. They're disrupting travel. There's travel advisories now. We have Americans that are stuck down there on holiday, places like Puerto Vallarta and Guadalajara and other places. They're going to try to just do that right now, but at some point, they're going to want to hit back at the U.S. too. It's always a concern. Now you get into border security. Now you get into the border towns. You get into the immigration because human trafficking is as much a business as the drugs are because you can just keep sending humans over the border. You don't have to worry about the product getting lost, that sort of thing. You can try over and over and over again. All of these things come into play. So again, they're pulling massive resources in America for border security and things like ICE domestically. Does this mean you're going to have to take a lot of those resources and get them back down on the border and do actual border security, not just be in the cities up north trying to do TV hits? These are all questions that are going to have to be answered. And the administration, if it's prudent, will need to beef up the border security on the actual border and take measures because there's going to be retaliation coming.
We also discussed whether this marks a meaningful victory in the broader fight against transnational criminal organizations, or whether these cartels are structured to withstand the loss of a top leader.
They'll absorb it. We know this is whack-a-mole. There is no world after 40, 50 years of the war on drugs broadly and the last 15, 20 on the cartels specifically. You cannot kill enough of them to make it stop. We cannot do enough law enforcement to make them stop. We cannot kill enough leaders to make them stop. You're going to cut the head off the snake, and that's going to make 3 more snakes, et cetera, et cetera. What it will do, though, is it will make an adjustment period, and then you have to see what happens. And to keep repeating ourselves, because this is the key to all these things, is there going to be a consistent program to deal with this problem going forward after this big event? Are we going to have more cooperation with the Mexican government? Do they have a resolve to get tough with these people and actually deal with it? Whereas Scheinbaum, when she first came into office, was talking about how violence in the streets doesn't actually help the cartel problem. Well, now you got the violence in the streets. What are you going to do about it? All those questions have to be answered, but the answer to those and the questions that are raised is always going to be, can you have a consistent policy that brings some peace and law and order down there? We haven't seen it yet, and I'm skeptical we're going to see it in the future.